Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California, and welcome to another weekend check-in. I am home for a week and a half in between my Las Vegas work weeks. By the time this video goes live, I will be back in Las Vegas for more dancing and staying indoors because it is over 100 degrees in Las Vegas. If you watched last week's check-in, I shared with you my Las Vegas plant collection and hopefully inspire you that no matter where you live, you can always find some kind of plant that suits your place and your lifestyle. I'm rarely there, and it's nice to be able to go to my Las Vegas home and have some kind of plant life around me. Having hundreds of plants here in Santa Monica, I don't think I could imagine living somewhere and not having one living plant. So it's nice that I'm able to have cacti and succulents in my Las Vegas. The thing about plant life is that you can propagate them. So as you've seen in my Las Vegas collection, there's a handful of plants that were actually part of my Santa Monica collection that I just decided to bring to Las Vegas and have them live there full time. Now, since I am home and gearing up for summer 2020 plant tour to film that, I would like to start filming that next week. I won't have my plant tour as detailed of going about each plant and where everything came from, since I recently just did that, but in the summer plant tour I'll share with you an overview of what the space looks like. I will point out things that I did change to the layout of my space as far as for styling plants since my last plant tour. Also point out all of the new babies that I incorporated into the collection since my spring 2020 plant tour. So stay tuned for that. I will gear up to film that when I'm back in my space next week. So in a week from now I'll start doing that. So I'm looking forward to getting that up in the channel in time. There has been so many plants that I brought into the collection since spring 2020 plant tour. It's the perfect time for me to also sit down and share with you 10 plants that I'm currently struggling with. Now, if you watch my Clean With Me series right before I gear up for a plant tour, I will go through the whole collection and I'll pull out plants that don't look good. If you haven't watched my 7 episodes of my spring 2020 plant tour, go ahead and check it out. Now, with no particular order, I have 10 plant babies here that are currently giving me some drama, but it doesn't mean that I don't love them. Even though if these 10 plant babies that I'm about to share with you are stressing me out, I'm still gonna give my 100% TLC to them, and hopefully in time in an upcoming plant tour they'll be able to come back out of the greenhouse and I'll be able to showcase them in upcoming tours. But currently right now they're stressing me out. Comment down below at the end of the video if you have these plants. Are you struggling with them, or are you doing great with them, and any care tips? I would love to know. I want to say this is a lot of Borea, and I got this one gifted to me or traded out to me from Carrie. She's been on the channel before. I don't know what's going on here. Not overwater this plant. I treat it like my cactus and my succulents, and for whatever reason this is the current vibe. I don't know if it's because of where I have it styled in the collection. I have it right here behind me, but I'm going to try to maybe shift it and put it by the succulent shelf, and maybe it can pick up good vibes there. I don't know what to do with it. This has been kind of stressing me out, and sound off in the comments down below. What do you think I should do with this one? I may end up putting it back in the greenhouse. I am not too sure, but this is the current vibe of it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 babies off of this mother plant, but I don't know if this is like the trending look of it. I'm not too sure, but this thing does stress me out, and it's not very, I don't want to say nothing mean about the plant, but it's not very like aesthetically pleasing when I see the plant like this. So I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna do with him. If you have any suggestions, what do you think I should do with this guy? I'm going to, after this video, I am gonna put him on a different side of my patio and see if it likes living there with my succulent shelf, and then when I come back in a week from now, I'll see if it's happy or not. If it's not, it's going in the greenhouse. Another one that is living on this side of the patio is my little mini Aeoniums. I don't know what it wants, and actually I have one similar to this in the front of my home. If you watch my plant tour, in a very small little terracotta planter. This is probably the most dramatic Aeonium I have, besides the one that died by the way. So in the past 2 videos you see my 800th and my 801 episode. If you haven't, it's my largest plant haul for the year. I had one crested Aeonium, Sunburst Variegata, that basically rotted on me, and I didn't have it in my collection for too long. I don't know why it did that to me, because all of my Aeoniums that I picked up in that haul is doing okay. But besides that one rotting on me and I had to throw it away, this guy here is stressing me out and I don't know what to do with him. I may just put him back in a nursery planter and put him in the greenhouse, because this is not very appealing to me for a plant tour. So this is one that is going to join the rest of the green babies in the greenhouse, and in time hopefully it'll come out. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because my mini Aeoniums that are in the front of my house, they're very slow growing and kind of stressing me out. So if you're looking to getting into Aeoniums, I say stick to the larger Aeoniums where they're a little bit more hardy, because I feel like these ones are very, very difficult to work with. This particular Aeonium is very difficult to work with and keep alive, and that's just maybe my fault. Maybe it doesn't like living on this side of the patio. Maybe I should keep it with the rest of the succulents, but for now that's going back in a nursery planter and in the greenhouse. Another plant baby that I'm struggling with that is in the greenhouse, my devil's backbone, is living in the greenhouse. This is what's left of it. This was gifted to me for one of my birthdays a couple years ago. It was a full planter, and this is all I have left. Now usually there's leaves growing up on here, and for whatever reason only one survived and all of the leaves fell off. I do not know what it wants. It's very stressful to see just one of him left and no leaves on him. So he's just been living in the greenhouse for the past couple of months. I'm gonna give him time to figure himself out, but honestly I'm very upset about this one. This one is, yeah, there's not much to say about him. Down in the comments down below if you have the devil's backbone. Do you consider this very hard plant to take care of or very easy? I don't know what it wants. I know when it was living out here, I think it was living on my succulent shelf if I'm not mistaken, or the front of my home, but this is the current status of it. So it's been living in the greenhouse for a while. Now let me talk about another one that I put back in the greenhouse, my watch chain, my small one. The larger one is doing really great. I love it. It's big and chunky, doing so good in the front of my house. But my original watch chain, what is up with you? And I see this as a trend when I go plant shopping, that this is kind of what the status of everybody else's watch chains look like. I don't know what to do with him. He does get watered at least 3 times a month, and as you can see there's lots of new growth on the top, but the rest, the main part of the plant is just struggling, but lots of new growth on every end of this plant. I don't know what you want, and I don't want to fuss with it, so I'm just gonna let it be. Sound off in the comments if you have the watch chain. Does it do this to you? Because I feel like this is a trend when it comes to what they look like over time. They get long and leggy and then they start looking like this. So it's kind of weird, because I'm trying to think if my variegated watch chain, that one is also a little bit difficult to take care of, but my big chunky watch chain in the front, 0 absolute problems. Here's another one that is stressing me out, my original Pilocarpa, which is so interesting that this Whipstylus is giving me a problem, because my second repurchase one, which is in the front of my home, my large one, doing good. This one was living in my studio on my plant shelf, and it just literally fell to pieces. Right before I hit record on this video, what I did was I just took all the ones I could save into this planter, and hopefully it'll root up and fill up this whole planter again. And this is going to live outside here by the succulent shelf. It's not going to live in my studio, so I think maybe it was my fault for leaving it in the studio, and maybe it'll be a lot happier out here. Hopes for it in a new setup and living out here, and hopefully in time it'll root up for me. But literally every single one of this is individual cuttings, and it literally fell apart. The whole plant fell apart, so it just was not happy. So that's unfortunate, but Cool thing about plants, I can propagate all of the cuttings and hopefully it'll end up trailing over. Now I want to talk about 5 plants that were either gifted to me or traded out to me. They're all stressing me out, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try my best until the thing dies on me. I have this Senecio that was gifted to me from my plant friend Sonia. I ended up putting it back in a nursery planter because it's been looking like this ever since I got it, and I don't know what it wants. I've seen pictures on the internet of this thing and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I don't know what you want. I'm gonna put this in the greenhouse and cross my fingers. Let me know if you have this particular Senecio. I think it's called the lamb's ear, and how is it for you? This thing looks almost like it's dead, but I don't want to throw it out, so I'm just gonna keep it as is in this nursery planter and I'll check on it in a week. Now the last 4 plant babies is from my subscriber that I traded with her 3 times. And let me talk about the Monstera cuttings that I got from our 3rd trade. I actually got the same cuttings from her mother plant from our 2nd trade, and it all gave me the same results. It curled up and never gave me any roots. So I don't know what to do. I even messaged her and I'm like, what should I do? I don't know, because the original cuttings from her mother plant, same plant, on our 2nd trade, she gave me longer trails, and I didn't cut it into single individual cuttings like this. I just let it trailed the way how it was when she gave it to me, and the whole thing tackled like this and never rooted for me. And I literally had it sitting in water for a couple of months, and then finally when we traded again for the 3rd time, I asked for more cuttings in our trade. I was gonna trade with her for the 3rd time. I finally threw all those cuttings out, and this time she gave me single leaf cuttings. But the problem is it's doing the same thing, so I don't know what to do. And they're giving me the same characteristics of curling up. I believe 3 cuttings or so that were already showing a water root. I'm gonna plant them up in a planting with Jewelyn video today, which you'll see in the future. But all the rest that she gave me that weren't rooted have not rooted up on me. So I don't know what to do, because it's doing the same thing it did to me when I traded with her the 2nd time and I had to dump those, and then it's doing it again on me for the 3rd time. I don't want to throw these out because this is not a very common plant, and I really want this plant to grow on me. So if you have any idea why it's doing this to me, or what do you think I should do? Do you think there's time for me to save this? I don't know. I just don't know. So I'm gonna dump out the water, give it fresh new water for the next week while I'm gone. I'm gonna come back and I'll read all of your comments, and then when I'm back in a week, I will try to set it up in a different way. I just don't know what to do with it. Sound off in the comments down below, and I'll take care of these cuttings when I'm back in a week after reading your comments. On my 2nd trade, she gave me one of her dramatic plants to adopt because she didn't want to deal with it. And I'm not a fan of Calatheas because they're very dramatic plants, but I didn't want to say no. I will never say no to anybody who's struggling with the plant. I'll take it in and try my best until it dies on me. This plant lives in my bathroom. If you watch my bathroom plant tour, these are very dramatic plants. You can't give it tap water. It wants humidity. And I've been doing all of those things. It's been living in my bathroom. There's so many browning tips and yellow leaves that I prune off since I've gotten the plant. But if you look really good in the planter, there's growth here, here, and here. So there's at least 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 leaves about to unfurl here on the bottom. So thank goodness it's giving me a sign of love, because honestly I don't know what to do with this thing. I will try my best, and hopefully the new leaves that do shoot up I swear, I hope they don't brown on me or turn yellow, because that's gonna make me really sad. I don't know what to do with this thing. It was living in my hanging basket, but since I've been here, the basket fell from the ceiling. I don't want to screw any more holes in my ceiling because this is a very old studio. So this is now living on the top of my plant shelf next to my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. Sound off in the comments, what do you think I should do with him? Honestly, I want to prune off these 2 leaves and then just wait for these ones to shoot up and hope for the best. But I'm trying not buy any Calatheas, but if somebody gives me a Calathea to rescue, I will take it in. I won't say no to any plant. So that was the case for this particular Calathea. On our 3rd trade, she gave me a bunch of succulents and cacti cuttings just to give me, and I had given my plant friends a bunch from that haul to spread the plant love. And one of the plants she gave me, I believe this is a Haworthia, is struggling on me and I don't know what to do. Literally the whole bottom part of the plant died, and I'm trying my best to stay positive. As you can see, there's some new growth popping through, but literally it was full and it's now like looking so sparse. I'm gonna take this out of this terracotta planter. I'm gonna put it back in a nursery planter. It's gonna live in my greenhouse and hopefully it'll be able to come out in a future tour next year. So sound off in the comments down below, why do you think this plant is not happy? I don't know. There's lots of babies here. I see some green pulling through, but literally I had to prune off this whole section of this mother plant to have it look the way it looks now, because the whole thing was just not happy. The last plant that I want to share for 10 plants I'm currently struggling with that's giving me a hard time is her black velvet alocasia that she gave me to adopt on our 3rd trade because it was too dramatic for her. My regal shield is in the greenhouse. I've talked about it several times on the channel. I see a new leaf popping up from the bottom of the plant, but literally it is bald. There's nothing happening right now. So there's some alocasias that do really good. In fact, I just filmed Pot of Fame yesterday and I highlighted one of my alocasias, giving me lots of new growth. And then there's certain ones that stress me out. So when she originally gave me her black velvet to adopt, she gave it to me in this planter so that I wouldn't have any stress. There was 2 leaves and one of them was already turning color similar to this, and eventually, days into having it in my collection, the whole thing turned yellowed and I had to prune it off. I honestly don't know what to do with him. I might take him out of this planter, put it in a nursery planter and still keep it in my bathroom because of the humidity, but I just don't like the way how it's just drooping low like this, and then on the top here it's turning that same yellow color like what it did with the other leaf, and then I won't have anything. Now, worst case scenario, if this leaf yellows on me, I'm just gonna prune here and I'm going to keep this root ball and hope that it'll pop up and give me another baby in time. I think my plan for this in the meantime, and I'll wait till next week. I'll read in the comments. I'll give it a couple of days when this video goes up to see what do you guys think I should do with this one. I'm probably gonna put it in a nursery planter and just have it live in my bathroom because of the humidity. I just don't like that it's drooping like this and starting to turn color. I don't know what this thing wants, but I'm gonna try my very best to keep this alive. And again, if this leaf turns yellow, I'm gonna just prune it here and I'll keep the root ball and see if it gives me new babies, because my regal shield is looking like that right now and I see one little tip of a leaf coming through on the bottom, like right here. So that is all I have to say about alocasias. Those are the current 10 plants that I am struggling right now with, having a hard time with, that are dramatic. There's probably a few more that I can talk about. For right now, these are the ones that I'm going to immediately take care of and hopefully be able to save them. Now I want to talk about the plant of the week. I've been doing some plant shopping since I've been back for the week and a half. It's been really fun. For future birthday plant hauls, I filmed one the other day and I will film another before I leave, maybe tomorrow, and in time you'll see that on the channel. But I wanted to share with you the plant of the week that I got from my plant friend Sonia. and she dropped off a part of her mother plant. Look at her beautiful moonshine sansevieria. Now I do have smaller moonshines, about this small, and I am going to film after this a planting with Jewelyn, and I'm going to incorporate hers with mine, and I'll have my smaller ones live around it, and it's going to look adorable. I am in love with sansevierias. This is such a great plant baby. So I ended up giving her Hoya Crinkle 8 and Tridescantia cuttings as a thank you for this beautiful plant gift. She didn't want anything, but that is definitely not my style. If you give me a plant, I will give you something back in return, whether it's cuttings or something that you don't have in your collection that I'm willing to part with as a thank you. So thank you, Sonia, so much for this beautiful sansevieria. In this video, I'm gonna pull my hair back, put an apron on, and plant up some very fun plant babies that are part of my birthday plant haul. I'm trying to take care of a bunch of planting before I film my summer plant tour next week. I do want to share with you one plant baby that is up for adoption. And in time, you will see why this one is up for adoption. Nothing is wrong with this plant. I just need to make room for a new plant baby that I got for my birthday. So I am putting my Philodendron Prince of Orange up for adoption. As you see how big he is compared to me, I'm going to stand up so you can see how big he is. So here he is. I've had him for, I want to say, over a year. And when I bought him, he was probably a third of this. And since then, he's grown so much. You've seen him in my plant tour in my studio. He's still gonna live in my studio, but I took him out of his planter because this one is up for sale now. So nothing's wrong with him. I just have to make room for one of my birthday plants, and that's the reason why I'm putting this one up for adoption. So if any of you guys want the Philodendron Prince of Orange, reach out to me, Planting with Jewelyn on Instagram. Direct message me if you live in the US mainland. I'm more than happy to sell this one off to you. I love this thing a lot, and if I didn't pick up one of the plants for my birthday plant haul, this would still continue to live with me in my collection. This is considered a rare plant for me. I rarely see this thing for sale. I think when I purchased this, that was the first time I've ever seen it in person, and I haven't seen it for sale since then. But this one is up for adoption, and that is going to wrap up this week's weekend check-in. I'm so excited to plant up more birthday plant babies when I'm done filming this, and you'll see that in time on the main channel. If you haven't checked out my 7 episodes for my spring 2020 plant tour, go ahead and find it on the channel. At the end of my individual plant tours, I do put a compilation of the whole collection in one episode without me talking for you to enjoy. If you need some inspiration or just want to see the collection in one episode without me talking, I have that video up on the channel. Check it out. I will come back next week Thursday from Las Vegas for another weekend check-in. I don't know what I will share because as you see plant life in Las Vegas right now, well, I don't know. It's 112 degrees, so I look forward to seeing the plant babies when I'm back there in a couple of days. Stay tuned because in the upcoming week, you are going to see the Planting with Jewelyns of this week's massive plant haul. I did, I think, 6 episodes of Planting with Jewelyn, and you'll see it starting Tuesday. I love my Planting with Jewelyn series. It's just a fun way for me to just relax with the channel, put my apron on, tie my hair back, and just do plant life. Plant life is so much fun for me, and I love my Planting with Jewelyn series. So stay tuned. This coming week, you're gonna see me plant up all the plant babies that you've seen in this week's 2-part plant haul. I decided, my tree is such a headache. I decided to split up the plant haul into 2 episodes this past Tuesday and Wednesday because I just didn't realize that it was going to be a very long plant haul. So that is the reason why I decided to split it up in 2 episodes. If you haven't checked out that video, check it out. But since this big haul, I have purchased many more plants, which you'll see in the upcoming plant hauls on this channel. So come back Monday on the main channel. Until then, you can find me Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the vlog channel. I hope you guys have been enjoying the vlog channel. There's so many plant life and behind the scenes of what it's like to live with hundreds of plants. There's a lot of things that I do share of my plant life on the vlog channel that I will no longer share on the main channel, and you get to see a different side of plant life that I do not share, like a sit down thought out video when it comes to the collection, and you get to see my life between 2 states. Speaking of planting with Jewelyns, I still have face masks and all of my planting with Jewelyn merchandise, from aprons, pot holders, and bags that my grandma hand sold for the channel. You can reach out to me, Planting with Jewelyn, on Instagram, and I would love to ship that out to you. So that's gonna wrap up today's video. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads between the main channel Monday to Thursday and the vlog channel Friday to Sunday. You get a video each and every day. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye.